If you see my face before, then what's up, y'all? It's your girl Chantel, back at it again with another video. And if you haven't, then my name is Chantel. Nice to meet you. Welcome to my channel. I haven't been here for a while, but I am back and I am better. Ever since last year, I've wanted to make this video, and I've never really sat in front of a camera and chose to do it, but I think now is the right time, especially after all the events that went down that you will hear about in a moment. I feel like I need to share my story, not only for myself, because I believe speaking about what's happening to you is very therapeutic and very helpful. I want to help people, and if you know me, then you know that's literally my life aspiration, is to help people like me, help people that have been through a lot of mental health issues, that are going through mental health issues, that, you know, need help. And yeah, so if you know me, you know that about me, and if you don't, then now you know. And hopefully if it helps one person, I will be happy. I also want to say that if your mind is leading you towards this type of video in order to trigger you, please do not watch this video. I will be talking about self-harm and suicide, so please get off this video if you will be triggered. I will leave suicide hotline information, and I just want everyone to stay safe, and I want everyone to know that they deserve to be safe and they deserve to be happy. So please, if this is what you're here for, sign off now, and hopefully I can see you when you are in a better headspace. Okay. So I'm gonna be looking down because I have my notes. I have written some notes on my laptop. So if I look down, just know it's because of the notes. Okay. So I guess I'll start from the beginning, from birth. So my mom has always reported to me that, and to everybody else, that I was always a very happy child, a very bubbly child, you know, from the ages of birth till maybe like preschool, like 6, 7. That's just how I was, and I was very friendly, I was very this, I was very that. I didn't really have a lot of emotional control issues at that age. Not really throwing any tantrums, nothing like, you know, to be aware of. So in elementary school, I feel like I just was kind of oblivious to my surroundings and how they were affecting me. Like, I didn't really, I don't know, like when I was in middle school, I remember, I'm really outgoing, and I was as a kid, and I had a lot of friends and all these things, but there was always like drama, like, oh, I don't like her, don't be her friend, or I like her, be her friend, or, you know, like little kid shit, you know, like little kid shit. And I felt like that really did affect me, but I can't remember how it affected me, but I know that it did. And I also had a speech problem. I have a stuttering problem, which I don't know if you have ever heard in any of my videos, but usually, like, in times like this when I'm very calm, I don't really stutter because my brain isn't racing or whatever. I'm just chilling. But yeah, so I had a stuttering problem, and a lot of people bullied me for it, which, you know, kids are kids. So in elementary school and middle school, I got bullied a lot for that. I was always mocked. I was always, you know, being called names and stuff. But I feel like that was more in elementary school. I think in middle school it did happen. It did transfer over to middle school. But I feel like in middle school it was more of like, we're friends, we're just joking with you. In elementary school it was deliberately like you're stuttering, like you're weird. You know what I mean? So yeah. And in elementary school through all the way freshman year of high school, I had taken speech therapy, which just helps me calm down my speaking, slow it down, taking a deep breath, you know, using like little strategies to helped me speak clearly and not get my words stuck. So then when I got to the end of 4th grade, I got accepted into my new school, which I am at now. My school goes from middle school to high school, so I'm in the same school that I was since 5th grade. So I got accepted into my new school, and I feel like a lot of that drama type of events kind of followed me through middle school, like, you know, little petty drama that would happen. And I would say I had a lot of friends, I guess, at the time. I, again, am very outgoing, so it was not hard for me to make friends, and it was very easy for me to go up to somebody and, hello, like, my name is Chantel, like, what's your name? So in 6th grade, my parents got divorced, and that happens to a lot of people. It's very common for 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Just random fact. But at the same time, something traumatic happened to me, which I will not share just because that's very personal. And I'm going to add a trigger warning right now, and I'm going to put a time when I'm not talking about this anymore. So I'm putting it out there right now. So skip to this part if if you know, please. Okay. So in 6th grade, I read this book, and I'm not going to say the name of the book because I don't want anyone to go searching for it or anything like that. But I read this book, and it was a book about a young girl who was in high school who had cut herself as a form, as coping. And I think, like, I knew this other girl in my grade who did cut herself. So what I did was I went to Instagram and I searched the topic, and I would see pages among pages among pages of young girls who had cut their wrists and would take pictures of it and post it, like, on Instagram. They would post it online, and I would see that, and I just, my thought process was, if it's helping these people, why wouldn't it have the chance to help me? So so yeah, that's when I began. That was when I first began to harm myself. I would cut my wrists, cut my arms. Okay, so this is the end of the trigger warning. And so at this point, you know, I didn't know that teachers were mandated reporters, which just means, like, if you are a harm to someone or somebody else, they have to report it, you know. And I didn't know that at the time, because at this time I was I think 10 or 11, so I didn't really know that. And I told my advisor after like a month of doing that the first time. I had told my advisor, and I was like, you know, I do this thing, and I'm scared to show you, but I trust you, so I want to show you. And she was like, what is it? And I showed her, and she was just like alarmed right away. And we went to my guidance counselor. I'd never been to the guidance counselor before this. I went to the guidance counselor, and she called my parents, and my parents were actually very loving and understanding about the situation, which I was very scared. Like, as a 10-year-old who, oh my god, there's a freaking fly. As a 10-year-old who does that and like doesn't really have a good relationship with their parents, like trusting, like I'm telling you my life type of things, like I would never tell them what happens at school or like anything super like that. So it was just like, what are they gonna say? Like, I'm scared. And so they did, and they were kind of just understanding about it, and yeah, I really appreciated that. But yeah, and then after that, I was kind of forced to stop cutting. You know, they took away all my things, which is a good thing. It's a very good thing. I didn't cut for a few years, so that's very good. I was clean for like 3 years, I think. No, 4 years, because after 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade. So I was clean for 4 years after that had happened. And I said what I said in the beginning because I was the type of person who would intentionally seek seek stories or seek pictures or seek videos of people harming themselves to trigger myself, because that's what my brain told me to do. Like, my brain was literally like, you need to do this and you need to find an excuse to do it. It was kind of like that, like, you need to do this and I need you to find a way that, you know, it gives you, I don't know what type of word I'm trying to use, but like, not gives you an excuse for it, but like, I don't know. That's kind of, like, obviously there were things going on and I was using it to cope, but my brain was also telling me to do these things in order for me to want to do it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I felt, and that's how, whatever. So after 6th grade, I had taken on smoking. And at this point, it was the summer after 7th grade. So at this point, I was definitely 12. I know for a fact that I started smoking when I was 12. So I'm not sure it was like the summer of 7th grade or like right before. I can't really do the math in my head right now. But I was 12 years old when I started smoking weed. And it had a very big impact on my memory. Like, long-term memory. Like, 100%. It is very hard for me to remember things. It is very hard for me to remember the past. Not in like, that was a bad way to put it. Not like hard for me to remember the past, but like, for example, like for me, 9th and 10th grade are like mushed into like 2 months of my memory. Like, I have no recollection of most of the things that have happened. Even in elementary school, like, I couldn't really, that's why I said I couldn't really tell, like, I don't really remember it affecting me, but I know that it did, but I don't remember, like, every situation that happened, or, like, any really situation that happened other than 1 or 2 that was, you know, very ingrained in my memory, but, like, I just don't have the memory, and it sucks. So I don't recommend smoking weed when you're young, because, you know, when you're older, you're 26, your brain stops developing, you're good, you're set, you can smoke your brains out, honey, because, you know, there's not really like there's not really any bad health side effects. That's what I was meant to say, other than, you know, your brain. But once your brain stops developing, you're fine. But of course, breathing in anything other than air is bad for your lungs, so I will agree to that. But there's not really any, it's not like smoking cigarettes or anything like that. So yeah, but anyways, back to the main point. I smoked a lot of weed. And through middle school, I just had a really bad relationship with my mom, and I still hate that about my middle school self, my younger self, because I really felt like I hated my mother. And I feel like that is such a bad way to live your life. Like, I don't know, like, not having love for your mother like that is so, I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but it's just like not okay, and it's very ignorant to what she has gone through for me. And I don't know, I still hate my younger self for that, because I genuinely felt that for my mom, and that is crazy to me. Like, I love my mom so much, and we have such a great relationship now. Like, we got over that, but like in middle school, when I was going through all these things, and like I just felt like a badass. Like, I wanted to rebel. I thought I was a grown. I thought I was, you know, oh my god, like, I'm turning 14. Like, give me my life, sis. Like, all this stuff. So it was just, I think it was just me, you know, going through puberty and like wanting to have freedom and all these different things that just made me not like my mom, because she would say no. Basically, that's really what it was. She would say no to anything. Like, I said, can I go to my friend's house? No. But I asked my dad. He was like, yes, 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 and yes. So I was just like, why is mom always saying no? She doesn't fucking love me. She doesn't like me, all this shit. Like, it was stupid. Just stupid mentality. But it's fine now, because I love my mom, and I would always recommend for people to really look into why. If you have a bad relationship with your parents, look into why, and stop blaming other people for what's happening or what you're thinking, because it's not always on them. You have to think and reflect on yourself. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I doing this? Why is she doing this? Like, she's doing something because I'm doing something. It's always a chain of events. So, but anyways, we're gonna move on. So I am currently a senior in my last few months of high school. Thank the Lord, praise the Jesus up above, because honey, I hate school. In middle school, I never really had problems learning. Like, I was always, you know, I paid attention in class. I did my work during class. Never did my homework, but I would ace the test, so it was fine. I would always get B's. I would be fine. But ever since elementary school, they would always say to my mom, like, she's a great student, but she talks so much, which I do. I talk a lot. And so it was always that, but they never really looked into it. And so I'm going to speak a little bit more about that a little bit later on, but just a FYI. So I am still in high school, but in general, high school was probably the most stressful, worst time of my life. And I don't want to say that because, you know, I'm so young, but at the same time, like, I don't know if it gets worse than that, because if it does, Lord help me. Lord help me, because if it gets worse than that, oh girl, I don't know how I will survive. But school is, I wouldn't say it's not for me, but wow, it's just wow, it's a lot, you know, and I couldn't handle it, and I still can't handle it, please. But yeah, it was just really stressful for me. And let's talk about why. So, freshman year, like I said earlier, freshman and sophomore year, I kind of smushed into one for me. But the most fond memories is really just my relationship that I had my freshman year, which was my first real relationship and my first relationship with a female, which that relationship was amazing while it was a relationship. Like, when we were together in the beginning, and, you know, for a few months after that, it was amazing for me. I loved this person to death, and blah 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 blah. We were very, what's it called, like, attached to each other. Well, I was attached to her. I don't really know if she was attached to me. I feel like when it was happening at first, she made it seem like she was. I'm not really sure. I can't speak for her, but when we were together, if you see this in the halls, if you went to my school, you would know we were attached by hip, you know. So yeah, and so not all through freshman year, like after December hit, well, we started going out in December, the end of December, right before Christmas. So it was like half of the year, and then I got into a relationship with this person, and then we broke up at the end of the school year. And so that breakup for me was very, very hard, and not only because it was my first relationship, my first love, and it was a really big deal for me because I came out to my parents. All my friends kind of already knew because, you know, I like girls, like, you can tell, you know what I mean? So it was very evident. But that relationship, that breakup was very hard for me to get over. And I was already having mental health issues in our relationship. And in the beginning, I was fine, I think, for the most part. But during, like, I don't even know when it went downhill for me. I can't even really, like, remember when, but, like, at some point, it just got really bad, and, like, I was really depending on this other person for my happiness, and that's not okay, because the other person, no one should be in control of your happiness. No one should have to carry on, like, that's a lot of weight to carry. Like, for me to be in control of somebody else's happiness is a lot of weight for me to carry. And that's what it was. It was just a lot of weight for her to carry, and it wasn't okay. And at the time, you know, that's not how I thought, but I'm reflecting on it, like, it was really not okay. And I definitely understand why we broke up, and it was definitely needed. But I was smoking heavily, and when we broke up, I started drinking. And I had a little, just a little bit of a drinking problem. Tad. Because I would stay in my house and drink. I would stay in my room, and I would drink until I blacked out. I would drink until I would get drunk enough to, you know, text her and be like, oh, the next day, like, oh, I was drunk, I didn't mean it, like, whatever. But, like, it's because I wanted to text her, and she wouldn't really talk to me when I was sober, so I would deliberately get drunk to text her because I knew she would be concerned about me, so she would text me back. Like, things like that. Like, that's not okay like, that was substance abuse, you know? So, I'm over that now. I don't do that anymore. After, like, that summer that we broke up, that was when all that, like, I had, like, substance abuse problems, and I kind of just got over it myself. But yeah, it was just, I can't even describe to you how hard that breakup was for me. Like, if you knew me, then you know. You know, bitch, because I was not having it, and y'all know, you know. But if you don't know me, it was just a really hard time, and I just take my word for it, okay? But anyways, so sophomore year, it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of crying, a lot of trying to get back together with this person, doing what I can to get back together with this person, trying to change myself to be with this person, trying to do all these things. And, you know, of course, sophomore year was also very hard for me. And, like, at this time, I was never really diagnosed with anything. Like, I did went to therapy when my parents found out about everything that I was doing in middle school, so I went to therapy for that. But, like, I never got diagnosed. There was never, like, this big thing about it. It was just like, okay, you're having a hard time, you're going through puberty, like, let's get it together. But, you know, now knowing what I have, which I will share soon, knowing what I have, and it just made sense. Like, it really just made sense. Like, I was so depressed, and I was so, even before I break up, I was so depressed, and it just, like, sunk me down deeper, and, like, it was really bad. But at that time, I was not self-harming. I wasn't, you know, I thought about it. I still distinctly remember the exact day, the exact moment where I thought about it. I thought about it, and I didn't do it. And I'm so proud of myself for that, because honestly, like, it was so hard for me to just think about it and allow it to be a moment and, like, let it go. And that's what happened when I was, you know, younger, and when I was in my freshman year, in my sophomore year as well. So yeah, so after all this breakup problems and coming back and forth and doing all these things, I enter my junior year, honey. So junior year was, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I kind of don't even remember junior year, to be honest, but junior year was when I first received help for my mental health issues. Like, not saying that therapy isn't real help, but like going to a mental hospital type of real help, you know? Alright, I'm peed, I'm good. Put some lip gloss on, because, you know, a girl gotta get her shine on or whatever. Oh my god, I'm so cold and anxious. Okay, whatever, let me just take a deep breath. So, yes, I just said I went to a mental hospital, but let me, like, rewind all the way back the fuck up. I was just having a lot of emotional control problems, and it was really beginning to be a problem. So I began to cut again, and I was having all these suicidal ideation, which is just, thinking about it, just thinking, having the thoughts like, I want to die. Just kind of coming by, and it's not just like, oh, like, I have a fucking test coming up, like, I want to fucking die, like, no. Or like when people joke around and they're just like, oh, like, I just want to kill myself, like, it was not it was not like that. It was more of like, my life fucking sucks, like, I don't want to live through it anymore, which is a very serious thing to think. Like, thinking that way is very, very serious. So I was having all these thoughts, and I was just kind of like, whatever. And so in December of my junior year, I got suspended. So I got suspended for reasons that I can literally not say, because I will get in a lot of trouble with my school. But maybe one day I'll do a little story time, because, that story's interesting. But I got suspended. Oh my god, it's so funny. Because if you know why I got suspended, you know. Jesus. That tea, baby girl. But besides the point, I got suspended, and I had my first manic episode, which led to my suspension. I was manic, which, if you don't know what manic is, it is basically feeling euphoric, feeling like you're on top of the world. And it wasn't like I think like there's hypomania and like just mania, like basic mania, and hypomania is like a lesser version. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. So yeah, hypomania is just a milder form of mania. So I didn't feel like I was on drugs. Like, some people who have mania report that they feel like they were on drugs. I didn't feel like I was on drugs, but I did have bursts of energy, and just energy from nowhere. And I would have, like, I wouldn't sleep for days, and it was just like I would sleep like 3 hours, and then I'd wake up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would start doing homework. And I don't do homework, and I would just do homework like on my desk, just like writing away, like non-stop, just writing, like for nothing, And with mania comes a lot of, what's the word? I don't want to say anything wrong, but I don't want to like be looking at my phone and stuff, but it just comes with a lot of like action. Like, you do a lot of things that you wouldn't normally do, but because you feel like you're on top of the world and like you can do anything. And that's kind of how I felt. I felt like not that I had superpowers, like, I didn't feel like I was Superman or anything, but I just felt like I was that bitch, and I could do whatever the fuck I wanted, and no one was gonna stop me, and I would never get in trouble for anything, and I would never. And I think my school environment had a lot to factor in with that, because my school was kind of lenient with me in specific. Like, my school does, favoritize people. And it was just kind of like I was a favorite, and I would do things, and I would get in trouble. But they would like let me off the leash, or like I'd come into school without dress code. No one would say anything. I would be walking down the hallway with my phone. The principal would see me. She wouldn't even say anything. Like, little things like that made me feel like I ran the school. And so I did things that got me suspended because I thought I could do whatever I wanted. So yeah, so that happened this December, but that happened right before February break. I mean, December break, like Christmas break. And for Christmas break, me and my mom were going to DR. And my mom was kind of confused at what happened, and she kind of didn't really understand what was going on. So we went regardless. Like, I still went to DR, and I still had my fun. And after the mania, I had a crash of depression, just down. And I was in DR. I was in Dominican Republic, and I would not go out. I was in DR on vacation, and I wanted to stay home and watch Netflix, and I didn't want to communicate with nobody. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I wanted to be alone. And I was there for a few weeks because the break did not count as my suspension, so I had to be there for break, and I was there over the whole time of my suspension. And I was suspended for 7 days, and I was in ISS for 2 days, but they were lenient, and they just gave me 1 day of ISS. But I was suspended for 7 days, and we had a break for like 2 weeks, and then there were a bunch of snow days, so I wasn't in school for like a month. And so I came back, and when I told, you know, my counselor about what I had felt and the reasons why I did what I did, she was like, that's interesting. That sounds like bipolar. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. But, you know, she can't diagnose me, so we were kind of thinking about partial. She asked me if I've ever been to one. I said no. She asked me what my thoughts were. I said I didn't want to, blah, blah, blah. So after that, we kind of just brushed it off a little bit. And then came February. In February, I was at one of my very low points. I wouldn't say that it was my lowest, because my lowest was this year. But I was at one of my lowest, and my coach, my cheerleading coach, who has been my coach for, at this time, 3 years, has informed me that she will not be coaching next year, and that she might switch schools. Like, she has a new job offer. She was gonna go to a different school. And I broke down, like, all the way the fuck down. Like, I was like, bitch, no, you're not. Like, who the fuck you think you are? Like, no. And it was a very unstable night. I had all these emotions that were coming at me, flooding through me, and I couldn't control it. And I was kind of like crying, begging her, hugging her, please don't leave me. And then getting angry and just starting punching her, and like, if you fucking leave me, like, I swear to fucking God, bro, like, it's gonna be a fucking issue, like, all this shit. And then back to crying, and then just like starting to laugh, and then just like laughing hysterically, and then saying I was gonna push her down the stairs. And then it was just like this whole roller coaster in a time span of like literally 40 minutes. Like, it was just like, so just, oh my God. So yeah, so that happened, and after that happened, she did not tell the school, like, administration. She didn't tell anybody for like a couple days, and which you're supposed to tell. If a student is in harm of themselves or somebody else, you are supposed to report it right away, and she didn't. And, you know, she did text me, like after that happened, we FaceTimed and we texted and we talked about it, and, you know, at this time, I was already self-harming, so I did self-harm, and it wasn't because of her. It was just because everything was going on, and all these things were happening, and I chose to do that. So, yeah, that happened. And then when she did end up telling the school, she pushed for it to be a mental health concern, like, you know what I mean? Like, not for me to get, because I was going to get suspended for that. And I was gonna be suspended twice in the matter of 2 months. And she was really pushing it her and my counselor were pushing it to be a mental health concern rather than a suspension. And they had to find an alternate solution to suspension to correct the problem or fix the problem or, you know, discipline me or whatever. So they chose the partial program. So I was sent to the partial program, one, because I was self-harming and I was having all these suicidal ideations, but two, because I literally fought my teacher. I didn't fight her, but I was hitting her and I was physically, you know, attacking her, and that's, you know, that's like not okay, you know. So yeah, which even to this day I do feel kind of embarrassed about the fact that I did that, because that's not me. Like, that's just not me. If you know me, you know that I'm not that person. I'm so sweet. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm just really not that person to be aggressive, physically aggressive towards people. Like, so it was just a concern. And so I was sent to the partial program, and I didn't even go into a partial until April. Because you know, when you have never been and you sign up, there's a long waiting list. But if you've been already, then it's easier for you to get on. But I have never been, so it was a long time. I got in April. When I went, I loved the people. I loved everything. Like, oh my god, it was the best. Like, the staff, the people, the program itself, everything I learned, everything was just amazing. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about how to cope. I learned so much about all these things, and I feel like it was really helpful. So yeah, and then after that, I came back to school. You know, I was gone for about 2 weeks, and then I came back to school, and then I kind of just came right back in. So when I went to partial, I was finally diagnosed with my diagnosis, which was major depressive disorder. And you know, they heard about the mania, and they kind of just said that they couldn't really diagnose me because I was too young. I was 16 at the time, and so yeah, they didn't really want to diagnose me. But I still feel like I have bipolar disorder. But you know, I'm not gonna say that I do, because I've been to multiple people and they say that they don't want to diagnose me. So I have major depressive disorder, and I have PTSD and generalized anxiety disorder. Well, no one has diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder, but I know that I have it. Like, I have all the symptoms, and my anxiety is not just from my PTSD, it's from regular things in my life. Like, I've been having anxiety since I was young, and the PTSD just kind of made it worse, but it's always been there. So yeah. So anyways, I left and I came back, and then I started to have suicidal ideation again. And by this time, I already received help once, so in my head it was like, okay, I know how to get it, I know what's gonna happen, it's not gonna be this big deal, like, I'll be fine. I told my counselor, and then they called the crisis team. The crisis team came to the school, and then they sectioned me. Section is basically like you have to travel in an ambulance. Basically, that's the gist of it. So, I'm sorry. So I was sectioned, and so an ambulance came to my school. They pulled up in the back of the school, and I got on the ambulance, and I left to the hospital. And it was so funny. So I was in the ambulance, and at this point, like, I had a plan. I knew what I was gonna do, and so some people, not everybody, but some people, when they feel that way, they become happy, or like a sigh of relief, because they know that they're not gonna be, what's the word, struggling anymore. And so you get a sense of relief, because you know that you're not going to be there to live for the struggle anymore. And that's kind of what I had. And I was literally in the ambulance, and I was laughing, and I was making jokes to the guy. I was literally wearing a shirt that said alive, and I had a little backpack that said alive. And I was like, isn't this funny how I'm wearing all this, but I'm in a hospital because I want to kill myself? Like, isn't this just a fucking super duper day? Like, oh my gosh. And I was just making jokes and just stupid. And so I got to the hospital, and then the lady asked me, do you want to kill yourself? And I said, not right now, but yes, I do. But right now, like in this very moment, no. I'm chilling. I said that. And so because I said that, she deemed me unnecessary. Basically, like, I didn't need to go to the hospital. And the only reason that they sent me to the hospital was because they were waiting on a bed for me. So they just wanted me to go to the hospital to see if that can speed up the process. But so they sent me home. Literally right after they sent me home, they called my mom saying that they had a bed for me. And then, but I already left, and they already said that I didn't need to go to the hospital. So I was like, okay, what the fuck? And I literally showed up to school the next day, and my counselor was like, what the hell are you doing here? And I was like, I have no idea. You tell me, sis. So they literally called the crisis team again. They came again. I think they came again. And they called the ambulance again. I'm not really sure what happened. Like, I can't remember. But basically, after that time, I went to the hospital. They said no. I came back to school. I went to the hospital again. And then, by that time, yes, you were going to the hospital. I was being hospitalized. So, I was hospitalized at Union Hospital, which is in Lynn. And I didn't feel like it was very helpful when I first went. It was like, whatever. And so I left. I literally lied to get out because I just hated it. I just hated everything about it. I hated my doctor. I didn't really like my clinician, which is like your therapist who sees you every single day. I just didn't like it. Like, it was just, I felt like a child. I hated it. Actually, I forgot to say this. I got hospitalized the day of my birthday. June 12th. I got hospitalized June 12th. My birthday is June 12th. And I got hospitalized June 12th. The day of my birthday. Oh, no. I'm saying this all wrong. I was in partial again for the second time. And I was there for like a few days. And I was saying that I was suicidal. And I was there. And I was saying like the only thing stopping me was my birthday. So they like waited for the day of my birthday. And then on the day of my birthday, they said, oh, like, are you going to be safe to go home? And I said, I can't promise anything. So when I said that, they were like, okay, you're going to the hospital right now today. And I was like, why? It's my birthday. So they sent me on my birthday. Forgot. There you go. That's the real story. I'm sorry. My brain is jumbled up right now. But, yeah. So, I came back after that. And I went to the partial again. Like, I went as a step down. So, I was my third time in partial program. And it was great. Same thing. Had the same person I always had. The first person that I had at partial, like, my first, they don't call them clinicians. What do they call them? My case manager. She was my case manager the first time I went. And now she's my therapist. And I love her to death. But, so the second time and every time after that, I had this other lady. And she was the best. And I just love people who are straightforward with me. They're blowing me. They treat me like I'm a fucking adult. And that's how they both were. And I really appreciated that. And I really liked that. So, I feel like it really worked. I went to the hospital because I gave my therapist, the lady who I just said was my clinician, like the first time I went to partial, she's my therapist, and I gave her a bottle of pills that I had stacked up. I was taking medication, and I wasn't taking medication, but I was prescribed medication, and I wasn't taking them, and I had a pill bottle full of my meds, and I was planning on taking them, and I did not. Thank God. I didn't take them, but I gave them to my therapist. And so we kind of worked with each other to set up a plan for when I was going to go to inpatient. And the only reason we set up a plan and why I didn't go right away was because I had a cheer competition, and that was the one thing that was stopping me. I was like, please, I need to go to my cheer comp. Like, this is the one thing that I'm living for, please. And so she let me for like literally 2 weeks. I was meeting with my therapist twice a week. I was seeing my school counselor twice a week. I was like getting super extra support until I can go to the hospital. And so during all this time I was cutting, blah blah blah. And so I went back to the hospital, but I went to a different hospital. And this hospital, bitch, was the best hospital I've ever been to. But let me tell you the downfalls. I was there for like a week and a half, a little bit over. They sent me home when I told them I wasn't ready. And I don't even want to get emotional right now, but like, I was really at my lowest point. And I don't want to say too much about like what I was thinking and stuff, because I don't want to be, even if, you know, you've kept watching and you've been through things that I've been through, I don't want to trigger other people. So I don't want to say too much, but like, I was not ready to go, like, period. And I told them I'm not ready to go. I don't have a plan, but I am not ready to go. Like, I was crying. I was practically begging. Like, I am not ready to go at all. Please keep me here. And they said, your insurance, you're done. Like, you've been here for a week and a half and you're done. But the problem was, when I got there, I got there the weekend of, like, a long weekend. So I was there for I got there Friday. And obviously, I got there, like, in the afternoon. So nobody, like, the people who you're supposed to meet with, like, your team, they weren't there. So I got there Friday. I was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday without seeing my treatment team. So I was there for 4 days, basically without any, like, I was kind of going to groups, but I, like, didn't know anybody. So I was kind of, like, in my room, kind of isolating myself. So I didn't really get a lot of help those first 4 days. And then when I did come out and I was, you know, out and about, there was a lot of drama because the people that I was there with, there was a lot of, you know, anger issues type more than, you know, suicidal ideation and stuff like that. Not that there wasn't, because there were a lot of people there for that, but there was a lot of, oh my god, I'm so dry, my throat. But anyways, there was a lot of drama, and I'm such a mediator that I felt like I couldn't express my problems because other people were having problems, and I felt like I needed to mediate that, even though I'm there for me. And you should never do that. Like, if you're going to a mental hospital, focus on yourself. But I couldn't do that just because I knew that other people needed more help than I did at the moment. So, for the whole week that I was there, I was basically focusing on everybody else. And after everybody else left, I was having panic attacks every day for like 4 days straight or 5 days straight. And then after they got my anxiety medication right, so I wouldn't have panic attacks every day. Mind you, I would have a panic attack and then I would sleep all day. Or I would have a panic attack at night and I would sleep throughout the day until literally 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I have a panic attack in the nighttime. So it was very exhausting. And I felt like I really didn't have time to heal. And so the counselors there, though, like, were amazing. Like, when I say amazing, like, not all of them. There were definitely a few bad apples. But, like, there was this one lady who just, she was like a mother. Like, she was the most nurturing woman I have ever met. And she just, like, made me feel like home. Like, home. Like, oh my god, I loved her. And, like, she really took care of me. And I have never been diagnosed with an eating disorder, but I do have some type of eating problems. And she, like, she took care of me. Like, I would literally sit by myself, not get lunch, not get anything, and she would deadass bring me a bowl of fruit, bring me a bowl of salad, and be like, you're eating, and you're gonna eat it now. Let's go. Like, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love you. And, like, the way she talked to me, it was the best thing ever. And there was also this other girl who is a younger girl, and I just loved her. Like, I just felt like we clicked, and I will always see her as a sister, and I love her so much. Obviously, I'm not gonna say names, but if you do ever watch this, I love you, and you know who you are. But those were, like, the 2 main people, but I did talk to a lot of staff members who really did help me, but I just feel like those 2 people were the 2 people that helped me the most. Like, I just love real ass people, and, like, your energy says a lot. And if I can deadass sit and talk to you for 2 hours about my whole entire life problems, like, that says a lot about you, because I don't just open up to anybody like that. So yeah. And I did talk to a lot of other staff, like I said, but they didn't help me as much as these 2 girls helped me. One of them was, like, an older lady. One was, like, you know, younger, like 20 something. My treatment team was very unhelpful. And yeah, and I had my own room. And every inpatient I've ever been in, I've had my own room. I left, and then I tried to kill myself, and then I was sent to another hospital again. So let's reiterate. I told them I wasn't ready. I left. I tried to kill myself like a week later, and then I went to a different hospital. Not even a week later. It was like a day, 2 days, a weekend later. Anyways, but I went to a different hospital, which was the same hospital that I went to the first time, Union Hospital. And after going to the other hospital where it was, like, amazing, I was just like, you guys fucking suck. Like, I hate this place. But my clinician this time was the best. Like, when I tell you I like people who are straight up, get to the point, tell me what the fuck is wrong, tell me straight up, and don't fucking leave shit out. Like, I love that shit. And that's how I work. That's how it's best for me to understand things, when you're being straight up with me, and when you're being like, no bullshit, like, you need to fucking get it together type shit. And that's basically what she did. Like, she turned my fucking life upside down. Like, oh my gosh, she was so amazing. And I will never, ever, ever, ever forget her. Ever. Because she just, like, fucking changed me, bro. Like, it's crazy. But after that, I definitely felt a positive change in myself, and I was really trying to change for the better, and change not only for the better, but more consistently and more long term, and not just, you know, getting out of the hospital, being good for a few months and then going back. Like, no, I'm trying to be good, get the right meds, you know, go to therapy, work on what I need to work on with my therapist, who I love dearly. I already trust her. I already have a connection with her, so it shouldn't be a problem. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like I have everything I need, so I just need to use it. So after getting out of the hospital, I am here now. I have been out of the hospital. I got out February 14th, and it is right now March 6th. I've been out of the hospital almost a month, and I've been doing great. I've been taking my medication, going to therapy. I've been working on myself. I've gotten journaling books. Oh my god, I got these 2 journaling books. I got this book. It's called Pick Me Up. It's like a pick me up. Like, you pick it up and you open to any page you want, and you just write in it, and, you know, it picks you up. And I have 40 writing prompts because I love to write. Started painting. I don't have any of my paintings. I gave it to my therapist because she got me into painting. So I gave it to my therapist, 2 of my paintings, and I need to paint another one for her. But yeah, so I just been taking care of myself, making sure that I am healthy, making sure that I'm eating okay, making sure that I'm not self-harming, and that whenever a thought comes in, I am being proactive about it. I'm, you know, working out, or coloring, or painting, or writing, or, you know, watching TV, doing anything, you know. I've gone back to dance, because I do dance. As you know, if you've been on my channel, you've seen my dance vlog. When I was going through all this stuff, I kind of quit everything that I was doing because I literally felt too depressed to get out of bed to do any type of anything. So I quit, but I've gone back, and I'm so happy that I'm back. And yeah, so that's pretty much my mental health journey. So far, I'm still working on it. Still got a long way to go. Still need to find out more things about myself that I don't know yet, and we'll get there. And I know I'm gonna make it to a long life. So yeah, and I just wanted to reiterate that everyone deserves to be safe, to feel safe, to be happy, to grow, to feel better. And I hope everyone who is going through a rough time gets a chance to do that. And please, please, if you're struggling, reach out, call a hotline, call your therapist. If you don't have a therapist, make an appointment. If you are too young, tell your parents. Please tell your parents, tell an adult, tell somebody, because going through it alone it does not help. You may think it helps, even if you are not an outgoing person and you're very introverted and you don't like to talk to anybody, please talk to someone, because talking about it will lift just everything off your back. And even if it doesn't, it will start to, and you can get help. Everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves everything in the world, and please just take care of yourselves. And I hope that this video has helped someone or taught you something, or I don't know, anything. I hope it did something for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I don't remember my outro, but I do remember that I said stay hydrated. So stay hydrated. Drink water. Water's the best thing for you. And this is like me returning back to YouTube. So like, I'm really trying to do this thing. I'm really trying to. I feel so motivated. So like, help me by subscribing to me and by commenting and letting me know what you learned, or if you have struggled with something similar, or just comment, let me know anything you'd like. If you stayed this long in the video, thank you so much. You're the best, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. And if you're not, know that someone loves you and you're gonna get through it. Bye. See you next time.